Hello and welcome to Impact, the show that deals with modern technology and its impact on society. With me today are two guests, and we're going to be talking about crystals and bioenergetic stimulation. On my left is Colette FEILDS, administrator of Smoody Health Clinic in Del Mar and professor of medicine at Golden State University and a freelance instructor on the use of lasers in medicine and bioelectric stimulation. Colette,
hi.
It's wonderful to have you here today.
Nice to see you, Alex.
Good to see you. And this is Daniel Willis. Daniel, good to see you here. Daniel is doing some very interesting work with crystals. Crystals, ordinary quartz crystals, such as you see in front of you on the table here. Daniel is currently working in Governmental Electronics Engineering Center on satellite communications, and he's doing some does repair and some design work on radio and broadcast engineering. And so, what is this about crystals and the effects that it has on people? What basically do you do with crystals?
Well, first of all, I want to say happy birthday, Alex.
Thank you, Colette.
I heard from a little bird it was your birthday. The crystal told me.
They tell you that it's people's birthdays.
Yes,
huh?
they do.
Wonderful. So what, you're evidently the electronics expert on this. Supposedly these, I understand, emit some sort of electronic or electric field, crystals?
Crystals are used in electronics. The radio station here is broadcasted by a quartz crystal that provides the frequencies, but the research work that we're getting involved in now is the other aspects of the quartz crystals, the other energy fields, and how the energies of mind interact with the body and the bioenergetic fields of the body, the interaction of that.
Can you explain to our guests how they're currently used? You say they're used in broadcast communications and in computers and things like that. Where else? What's the most common use?
Most common use is used in frequency oscillation, such as your radio transmitters, used in computers for your time-based standards. They are also used as transducers to convert electrical signals into mechanical signals and back and forth. Most commonly they're used as oscillators. And the research work being done now in the laboratory is studying the energetic fields that are emitted by a crystal and the similarities between the life fields that the body has and these fields and how they interact with the mind and the body that cause transformations to occur.
So they're now using them on people?
Yeah, we're using it on people now.
Yeah. Just to give the people some sort of idea as to what this is, the crystals, how they're most commonly used. As we most know it, I understand that they're also used in phonograph needles.
And the piezoelectric effect, yes.
Yeah, to transduce the vibrations of the needle into electric waves, which are then amplified and become the music as we know it.
That's the physical, application of the crystals.
When did this come about? Where did we first learn about piezoelectric crystals, and when were they discovered? How were they used before?
Well, Alex, the crystals have been around for a long time. In ancient Egypt, they used crystals in their healing potions. They used to take them and crush them into a very fine powder so they didn't tear you up when you drank them.
Just like drinking powdered glass?
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Not
Sounds
quite.
great
It was
for the
ground
digestive
up.
system.
Right. And each crystal had a specific vibrational frequency, and they used those depending on what was wrong with the person and their body and their mind.
This was Indians, you say?
No, the Egyptians.
The
used
Egyptians.
this. Now, the Indians, if you want to go to the American Indians, the shamans, used to carry what we call a little finger crystal about the size of your little finger in their healing pouches. And they would use them for their meditations to induce visions and dreams. They would receive their prophecies and visions in this way by meditating with the crystal. They also used them in their healing services, where they would pass them over the body of a person and help to bring that body into balance. They used them in childbirth. When the cord was cut on the infant, they would take the crystal and energize the cord of the infant with the crystal, and supposedly that would bring the baby's body's vibrational frequency up and help them to in tune with the Great Spirit, or the Spirit within. So
Yeah.
that's a little bit of the folklore behind
and
crystal.
superstition and all that.
Right.
So I understand nowadays that there are some rather well-known people that are involved in this in a scientific way, and they say that nowadays, rather than relying on superstition and chanting with the
Right.
rattles and all that, that they can actually measure the force emitted from these crystals.
Yes, Dr. Marcel Vogel, who is IBM's leading chemist, has, I think he was with IBM for about 20 years and has been using crystals in the use of computers and others, and he has found that they have properties to help balance the energetic fields of the body. He has now quit IBM and devoted his life to the study of the crystals and their properties and how they affect the mind, how they affect the body. And Danny could probably tell you a little bit more about that. as
Yeah,
he's
so
worked with
who is this Marcel Vogel, and what has he done?
Well, for many, many years, crystals, as Colette was saying, has been involved in cultures, major cultures all over the world. Just in recent times, the credit to the major scientific advancements in this work, you can say, goes to Mr. Vogel for bringing it into a more down-to-earth physical science. He has opened up a large laboratory where he is researching these energy fields. 10 years prior to this, he did pioneering work with man-plant communication, showing that the energies of mind can reach out and affect plant life. And in the last few years, he's worked with about 24 medical doctors in implementing this new technology and helping distortions of the body, different energy field problems that go on, to be able to release imprinted patterns that get stored in the body and cause problems. And he's been able to accomplish this using crystals.
You talk about energy fields of the body and using this to promote some sort of therapeutic effect. What are some of the benefits that, or therapeutic effects that can be achieved with the crystals?
Well, when we recognize that, and this has been measured in science now, there is a formative, or preformative energy field that makes up our body. And these energy fields, although are not visible to the eye, which can only see within a limited spectrum of frequencies, as most of our physical senses, has like a geometric field to it that gives the seeming mass and substance that is our body its form. And the crystals can go in and they act like a, as in electronic terms, like a transducer, and they convert these energy levels, one energetic level into another, into a signal that can restructure the pattern that is making the body into the form that it is. And disturbed pattern can be gone into and broken up and then restructured back into the normal healthy pattern that makes a person a healthy individual.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I did want to say that the crystal is similar to a radio. You can have the radio there and you have the broadcast and the waves are in the air, right? But the radio isn't doing anything to convert that to where you can understand until you, as the operator, turn the radio on. Once you turn that radio on, the signal goes through the radio and it's transformed into a voice pattern which you can understand. Well, it's the same way with a crystal. This crystal can sit here and it's picking up vibrational frequencies in that, but when you touch it and pulse it, it's like turning the crystal on, and when you do that, it will pick up the wave patterns of the person's thought forms. And in this, the operator that's using the crystal, it's important that their thought forms are at a very high frequency level and thinking health and well-being, because as Einstein taught us, everything is relative, and you can't have an experiment without everybody in the room affecting that experiment. So the operator, the person using the crystal,
the operator, the person using is most important.
Is most important because it
and
does
the other
affect
people
the
in the
person.
area might affect it too.
Exactly, exactly. Mainly the operator, though, because the operator is more or less in control. It's just as if you were using the radio and you were the operator. There are other people who can hear what's happening with the radio on, but if you're the one tuning or fine-tuning what channel you want it to be on, you're the one that's controlling that mechanism. Well, it's the same way when you use the crystal. The person that is using the crystal, holding it, operating it, working on a person with it, has more control over what is to be programmed or deprogrammed within that person's structure.
Yeah. Talking about the ancient folklore, some of the slides that I got from you, I noticed there was, I don't know if we have that or can show it. I know that certainly the monitor isn't on here in the studio. But I found a picture of a crystal skull. I think I had seen that on Ripley's Believe It or Not before also. Right. Can you tell us a little bit about the history, the background about that?
This is an amazing crystal skull. It was found underneath the Mayan pyramids, wasn't it, Danny?
It was a lost city that was down in British Honduras that they were able to, it had pyramids and everything. And I think it was back in the 50s, Michael Hedges' expedition, and it was on an altar, and it's an amazing piece of artwork, if anything else. It's made out of a single large piece of crystal. And
quartz crystal?
Quartz crystal, which is very hard and very difficult to work with.
Well, the thing about that crystal is they found that even with our most scientific instrumentation now, as far as cutting crystals are concerned, if they attempted to duplicate that crystal skull, there's no way, even with our most sophisticated instrumentation, that they can do it, because it's cut against the grain of a crystal, and if they attempt to do it that way, the crystal shatters. So there's no way of knowing how that crystal was made, the way it was cut. It's quite a phenomenon.
Very interesting. Okay, we said that these are used in therapeutic effects. We got into a rather philosophic discussion about energy transducing and transformation and this sort of thing. I'm just wondering,
You're speechless.
Yes, it's like help me out here. What does this mean to the average person like you or me that's not, well, you're evidently deeply involved in, but what does it mean to the average person like me who's, you know, I know that it's used in phonograph records and in computers and stuff like that. How, what does it mean to me? What are the effects? How is it used?
Okay, Alex, most people are familiar with the placebo effect, where someone gives you a pill and say you'll get better.
And with a lot of times that does the suggestion
with that
itself
thought,
has the effect.
that suggestion of mind, and the person gets better because of the attitude of mind. And mind is very powerful in affecting the body. With the crystals, what we're doing is using that power of the mind into a technology. The mind actually radiates energy out, as in, say, in Czechoslovakia, in the research labs, they were able to, schizophrenics who are hallucinating, they actually record on film the images that they are hallucinating onto film, showing that there is an energy that's emanated out of mind. Now, when we work with this energy with the crystals are cut to specific geometries that are resonant, like a radio set, with the individual. And these energies can be focused like a lens, and in other words, the feedback cycle of making a person well by believing, okay, I'm going to get better, okay, it takes a certain amount of time. With an instrument that aids this and able to focus this energy, you're able to have much more rapid transformation, much more precise, observable transformations.
Okay, you speak of transformations. What sort of transformations are we talking about? Does it relieve pain? Does it cure cancer? What does it does it relieve phlebitis? What are some of the specific things that it would be indicated for the use of crystals?
Well, let's say if there was an injury in the body, that injury that was impacted in the body has a program, just like electrical signals can be recorded on magnetic media. Mm-hmm. That program resides in the body, and you get the indication of pain. If you can go in, let's say, and remove that program, then the pain goes away. And that's what occurs with the crystals. When you rotate the crystal at a particular angle, the pain is no longer apparent, and the symptoms go away.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's some stress reduction relief. When you use a crystal either on yourself or someone else, there's a feeling of, many people feel a feeling of warmth, all right? Mm-hmm. Some perspiration, flushing within the body, and that heat has a tendency to draw out pain and toxins, mm-hmm. Helps the person to relax, brings the blood to the surface of the body type of thing, and mm-hmm. feeds.
Can we see how this works?
Sure.
Would that be possible?
Well, certainly.
Yeah, okay, what can you show? What does it look like? How do you use a crystal?
Well, Mr. Vogel is cutting crystals into specific geometries like this one.
Uh-huh.
And the crystal can be developed on the surface, a charge. Mm-hmm. And mostly everyone can feel the energy that's emanated. It emanates an energy like a laser beam. Mm-hmm. And let's see, this is sort of a last-minute thing, but I understand there's a producer or somebody here with the back problem?
He's not here. He couldn't make it today.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Otherwise, we'd lay him out over the table here. Only problem I got is these hot lights.
Well, with a crystal, it can interact with, say if you put your hand out, Alex.
Which one? Does it matter?
It's fine. The crystal can be rotated, and at a particular angle, the energy will be linked into your energetic field. And this can be measured on an electrostatic voltmeter, where you rotate the crystal at a particular angle and the meter will go off scale. They also have been able to measure this on an AMI acupuncture computer, mm-hmm. where the meridians in the body, the acupuncture meridians, will change with crystal intervention. And see if you can feel this. What I'm doing is projecting like a beam of energy from the crystal into your hand. I'm using my left hand as like a feedback loop. Can you sense that?
At various points, it seems like there might be.
Well,
it's like a tingling sensation.
That's what most people describe, a tingling sensation or heat.
Yes.
Well, this is just a...
Well, you'll have to show me more after the show. I believe we've got about 10 seconds left to go.
Okay.
It's been wonderful having you here. And
pleasure.
Maybe perhaps when we come back on another show, you can bring in this electrostatic voltmeter and other device you were talking about, and show us some actual, because this is rather subjective as I understand it, whereas, it seems to me like I felt a tingling, but really, that's subjective. How do we know that that's not a placebo effect? Can this you're saying this can actually be measured?
It can be measured in laboratory.
On laboratory. Well, Let's see if we can't get that equipment and do some actual physical, objective, you know, experiments and show them just exactly how it works. By the way, this one seems to work better than the one you showed me here.
This one is fine-tuned.
Yeah. So they are tuned.
Yeah, finely tuned.
How are they tuned? What is it tuned to?
It's tuned to a particular frequency of vibration. Each geometry has a specific frequency of vibration. And what they do is they cut the crystal to a specific geometry that contains a very high frequency vibration. You'll notice if you just hold that in your hand, it's such a high frequency vibration that it'll pulse just as a heartbeat will. And the body is...
How do I know that's not just my pulse from being tense and being on a television show here?
It could be. Try it when you're relaxed. Try it when you're relaxed.
Okay.
Colette and I both had enough experience with the crystals that we know it's more than a suggestion or a placebo effect. We've witnessed
Uh-huh.
that convinced ourselves, working with ourselves and with other people with the crystals. We like the idea of the impact on the sociological
What is
idea
the sociological impact? What does the Orthodox medical community think about all this?
Well, you know, being in the medical field, traditional medicine, for 20 years, myself, I was amazed because I was quite ill at one time, and the crystals helped me to regain some balance and health. And after that, I started using them in the hospitals and on patients, and some of the doctors were very receptive to it and are working with them now themselves. Many of the patients have them and are finding some tremendous relief as far as pain and stress. Many doctors naturally will poo-poo the idea, if you want to put it in simple terms, but anything that's new is very, very important to question. And I question it myself, and that's why Danny and I are involved in the research in this.
And so it's not just psychics
how
that say, I can read your
Right.
aura, I can cure all your ills, but they can actually physically measure it.
Exactly, and this is what we're involved in, to gain some data and then put that data on these research instruments and see the how and why. We know it works because we've seen it work. Now the question is proving how and why and what causes it to happen. And that's still in its infancy stage, like many parts of medicine are right now, but eventually we'll integrate and recognize that we can study disease until we're blue in the face, but it's time now to study health. And I believe that the crystals are a very, very important part in the integration of health and having our minds and our bodies recognize that particular pattern.
Okay.
So now we prove it.
You might visualize, Alex, and say in the future a person could walk into a chamber and they could have like these energy transducers. A person could see if there's a distortion in a person's energy field, and then they could use appropriate intervention, energetic means to restore the person's health and balance back using purely energy and vibration. You know, this is science fiction, you know, topic, but we're turning magic into scientific fact as we're discovering things in the laboratory.
Well, is this used after the person is sick, or is it before the person is sick, becomes sick?
Well, if we recognize that the preformative body, which forms the physical body, the symptoms and things occur there first and then into the physical body. If you can sense them there first and alleviate them, you don't have the physical problem. But once the physical problem is there, you can work with the higher formative energy fields and work at it from that point. But if you can catch it in an early stage, it's much easier, of course.
Now, I noticed that this one is rather, most of them are six-sided and rather lopsided, as we see in those there. Now, this one's been specially cut?
It's been specially cut.
Do they have to be specially cut and tuned, so to speak?
Well,
such as this, or can a raw crystal, such as the one on the table here before us, be used?
We're going through different stages of technological advancement. The Indians have used raw crystals, and many cultures before that, fine. But what we're doing is we're turning it more into a science, more finely tuning it into a precise vibration, which has more observable rapid transformations.
So you're fine-tuning it, but suppose somebody's seeing the show and say, well, I'd like to, play around with it and check it out. Where can I get one? Or does it have to be special? How much can I pay? What do you think?
Okay, well, most people can find these at any gem or mineral shows or gem shops, and they range anywhere from $1 to $50 to thousands of dollars if you want a large piece, a decorative piece in the home. In choosing a crystal...
Does it have to be large? If it's bigger,
no.
Is it better?
No.
Or if,
no.
What?
Any size will do. Usually a person will touch the crystal, and when the crystal is right for them, they automatically will feel some warmth or some coldness or maybe even some tingling. And it's almost like the crystal and the person choosing get that mind link, and there's a rapport there, and the person seems to know that that's the right crystal for them. And they can go into a place and touch one and know that this is it, or touch 50. And the thing of it is trusting, but it doesn't make any difference if it's fine-tuned or if there's one that you've chosen from the shop. If the intention is there and you know how to use it, it can magnify whatever you're doing.
Okay. Well, let's say that we wanted to get a nice, fancy, finely cut crystal such as this, that, it's nice, it's clear, it's cut.
Right.
How much would something like this cost?
Alex, if those in the viewing audience would like to find out more information, which we don't have enough time in the show to go into, I have an address, which is the Research Laboratory, which has a newsletter and has all of the most current, latest scientific advancements with this. Should I give that on the show?
Well, what they can do is call the producer or me as associate producer, and for more
I'll give you
information,
the address,
then I can refer them to that information.
All right.
Great. So,
Keep working. Thank you.
can you do something fancy with it? Can you show us anything?
Come on, Colette, levitate.
Levitate.
Yeah, levitate. Let's see you levitate this crystal here.
All right. Mostly what Danny showed you is the way we use it. And we just can use that all over the body, not just the hand. If there's a particular part that has been diseased or out of balance, that part is where we go to first and work on that. And the technique that he showed you is very important. There's also a thing called pulsing the breath as you're doing it. But as you take in a deep breath and hold it,
well, we still got a few seconds left here. Can we show the person a basic demo how to use the crystal if they go to the gem shop and pick up a crystal?
All right. Let's say you're just going to the shop and you take it. It's very simple. You put it in your hand and feel it and touch it. And some people will take it and put it up to their forehead like so. And it's like when you're a kid, if you take your hand and you go like this and you feel energy.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to close the show right now. It's been fun being with you. Hi.
Bye.
So, okay, how do we do this now? Pulse it.